I don't think in a long time, where I'm having PRs squatting week to week. That just doesn't happen.
So, Shannon, what's the biggest reason Rodgers is having such a good year?
Well, I think also he's in the second year of this offense, Skip. He knows what to accept. He's great quarterbacks. It's a new system for him. He was in one system, Skip, for his whole career. And then all of a sudden we see Brady, Skip, in a new system that's unfamiliar with him. The terminology is a little different, and he's struggling a little bit. I believe year 2 for Brady will be better than year 1, just like I've always thought that year 2 would be better for Aaron Rodgers. But we make it seem like Aaron Rodgers was a bum in year 1. All he was 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 4 picks.
Which year? You mean?
Last year. His first year under LaFleur.
Oh, got it. All right.
Yeah. So we make it seem like, he's not a top 50 coming into the season. He's not top 50. And it's over. He's over. But, Skip, people, this is what ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to blow you away with what I say. Since the start of 2018, Aaron Rodgers has fewer interceptions in the last 3 years than Tom Brady has this year alone, and he stepped off a cliff. Aaron Rodgers has 84 touchdowns, 10 interceptions since the start of 2018. So almost 3 years, Tom Brady has 11 interceptions in this year alone, and he stepped off a cliff. Other than Patrick Mahomes and maybe Deshaun Watson and Russ, ain't nobody else, everybody else in the NFL would take these numbers. And he stepped off a cliff, Skip. He's absolutely right. People think that you throw with your shoulders, but you throw from waist down. And as long as that foundation, those legs, that core is right, he'll be able to zip the football. Skip, he's one of the few guys still at his age. Like, he's not as fast as he once was, but he's fast enough. You play a certain coverage, he'll jump out of a lane and go. He still has the ability to flick the ball 40, 50 yards, rolling left, rolling right. He can throw from the pocket. Let this sink in. You want that guy throwing from the pocket with that pinpoint accuracy that he still displays. But he's absolutely right. As long as that foundation, which is from waist down, stays, and that's what Brady is. Brady's from waist down. You look at his upper body, it's changed a little bit, but it's still not like he ain't yoked up like a Cam Newton or anything like that. You ain't gonna look at Brady like, man, you know what? I want that body. But from waist down, as long as it stays strong, Aaron Rodgers is gonna be here to stay, and he ain't going nowhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to blow you away with what I'm about to say.
Blow it away.
Would you believe that the quarterback in the National Football League who has improved his QBR from last year to this year by far the most is that guy, Aaron Rodgers? His QBR last year was the worst in his career, and it had fallen for 4 straight years. It plunged all the way to 54, scale 0 to 100, just barely above average. This year, it's 85. He has improved by 31 points in QBR. 31 points, that's got to be historically great. It just doesn't happen.
If you don't mind me asking, the years that, the previous 3 years, who was his head coach? Now, what's that guy doing? What's that guy doing in Dallas
we're
now?
Going to change the subject to Mike McCarthy. So, last year, Aaron Rodgers fell to 18th in QBR in the league and 21st in completion percentage. And those two statistics had fallen for 4 straight years. So something was going wrong. It was going so wrong that it didn't matter what I said. It mattered what the team did. How did the team react to that? Because after the Green Bay Packers got all the way to the NFC Championship game and failed miserably, a game in which Aaron Rodgers had a QBR of 23, scale of 0 to 100. And in that game, he threw 2 picks. He fumbled 3 times. He lost only 1 of them, but he had 3 turnovers. And what did management conclude after that blowout loss at San Francisco? It's time to go forward and look elsewhere.
And guess what happened?
Yep.
Can you tell the people at home how many points his defense gave up? And they still didn't address that issue.
Okay. So what did they do in the first round? They traded up from 30th all the way up to 26th to take a quarterback.
Yes.
I didn't do it. I didn't tell them to do it. I didn't force them to do it. They did it. What was the message sent? We need a new quarterback. Maybe not next year, but maybe the next year after that. And they picked Jordan Love, and he has not seen the light of play.
And ain't gonna see it.
Okay, well, we'll see. But that move is the key move. I don't think it's squatting that suddenly turned around Aaron's game, although that's great. I'm glad he did figure that part out. But And I don't think it's his personal life. Obviously, he was living the good life out in the Malibu beach house with Danica, and then they split up. But I don't know what that had to do with the psyche.
Yeah, it had a lot to do with it, Skip.
Well, I think he just got a fire lit under him on draft night when he said he needed, what's he call them, fingers of tequila?
Yeah.
Needed 5 fingers.
He needed a couple of things. But Skip, hold on. First of all, we all know that personal life off the field can affect on the field.
I don't know enough about it to know how it affected him, but it could clarify things.
But I'm not saying that, Skip, I'm not saying that it did, but I'm saying that we know that it can have an impact. So that's why, you know, you want to have everything harmonious at home.
Okay, you do. And now for the infamous passage from Pro Football Focus.
Yes.
The website you're increasingly down upon, right? This is when they decided not to include Aaron Rodgers in their top 50 players. This is back in just past June.
Yes.
Okay? The passage is, Rodgers has become ever more evidently part of the problem in Green Bay. I didn't write this. They wrote this.
They wrote it.
And his own team spent the offseason laying plans to minimize his role in 2020 and replace him beyond that. Rodgers finished the regular season as our, Pro Football Focus' number 9 ranked quarterback in the league, but he was only 17th from week 8 to the conclusion. 17th in the league. And I think the Packers are saying the same thing.
So let me ask you,
it's time to move on.
So let me ask you a question. How they minimize it? Are they minimizing him in 2020?
Obviously, he just had a career bounce back. Bounce back.
They said they were going to minimize Aaron Rodgers in the offense. Are they minimizing him? A simple yes or simple no?
Well, no.
Okay, so they're wrong.
But he showed them from game number 1, I'm a new guy. I'm different.
But also, Skip Bayless, can you read? I want you to read his QBR. What was his QBR last year?
54.
No, it was 17th, right?
Yeah, ranked 18th.
And he was 18th. And what was he in completion percentage?
21st.
21st. And I know a guy that Skip Bayless said that was better than he was, that was ranked behind him in QBR and completion percentage.
So we have to change the subject to Tom Brady because we're losing the argument about Aaron Rodgers.
Hold on, talk about Skip Bayless. I did not call that man's name. All I said is that I know a guy that ranked behind Aaron Rodgers in QBR and completion percentage, and everybody else said he was on the ascent. And Aaron Rodgers was on the decline. Now, you tell me who's on the ascent and who's on the decline as we speak.
Let's see. Tampa Bay 38, Aaron Rodgers 10. That was this year. Wait, that was this year. And guess what? Aaron Rodgers had a QBR in that game of 12.
Skip.
That happened this year.
I'm glad you brought that up. Skip, I'm glad you brought that up because I saw the New Orleans Saints beat the Denver Broncos with a guy that was selling lawnmowers and car parts just 2 days before they put him in at quarterback. He scored 3 points. Tom Brady got the same 3 points as a 21-year vet who you say is the GOAT against that same New Orleans offense.
We're going to talk about Tom Brady in just a minute here on the show, but we're back to Aaron Rodgers, who you say, everybody said he stepped off a cliff because he was stepping. He was stepping.
Let this sink in. This is where we are today. Aaron Rodgers has been so good. He's been historically and transcendent great. We said 26 touchdowns with 4 interceptions is stepping off a cliff. He threw for 4,000 people, ladies and gentlemen at home, let this sink in. 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 4,000 yards is stepping off a cliff. That's what he did. That's all he did.
And I would like to remind those folks at home that just a couple of years back, there was an expose in Bleacher Report about the Green Bay Packers. It was a lot about Mike McCarthy, and it was a whole lot about Aaron Rodgers and their disintegrating relationship. And remember what happened? That was when Mark Murphy, the president of the Packers, decided upon his own, I'm going to go hire Matt LaFleur, and I'm not going to involve Aaron in this decision this time. I'm going to call him and inform him, I have just hired you a new head coach. And during that conversation, according to Bleacher Report, Mark Murphy told Aaron, this time, don't you be the problem. Meaning his diva act, he can be difficult off the field. He can have thin skin.
He can be aloof, he can be condescending, he can be dismissive, he can be all those things. But he can also be historically and transcendently great.
Sometimes he can.
What do you mean sometimes?
Sometimes he can, and a lot of times he can't, because we have seen him repeatedly in those situations, such as at Tampa Bay, in which he threw almost back-to-back pick sixes. he will fold like a lawn chair at a Tampa retirement community.
But let that sink in, Skip. Let that sink in for just a second. He threw 2 picks in that game. And in the other 11 games, he got 2 more. Your guy got more picks than that in the last 4 games.
Yep.
He got more picks in the last 4. As a matter of fact, he got more picks in the last 4 games than Aaron got all year.
My guy has been to 9 Super Bowls and won 6 of them. Six of them.
No, Skip, I get all that. We can't take whatever you've accomplished up until 2020, that's yours.
Okay.
We're talking about
this
2020.
Is what you've accomplished before 2020. On your record is 1 Super Bowl appearance and victory 10 years ago. This franchise stands for Super Bowls, plural, dynasties. This is Vince Lombardi leading to Brett Favre, leading to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron, you got us 1, but it was 10 years ago. Since that run,
it's title time. That's what they call it, title time.
Title town. Your brother played there.
Yeah.
You hung out.